In today's show of the Creator Economy podcast, we're going to be talking about life changing books. A lot of us know books are amazing, important, the fabric of our growth, evolution for thousands and thousands of years, way before the internet. This show has been a long time coming. I'm really, really excited to share with you the books that have really been the backbone to my success. And you're going to be surprised because I guarantee you a lot of these books are books you've probably never heard of. So make sure you come on back. Welcome everybody to the Creator Economy podcast. We are live. This is a show where we help you monetize what's inside your dome and what's inside your chest so you can actually do something you love, impact more people, create more transformation, inspire more, and make some serious money in the process. This is a very, very special show. Make sure when you're coming on in, you hit that thumbs up. I'd really, really appreciate it. Make sure you share this out because sharing is caring. I really, really appreciate that. And don't forget, if you're watching on Amazon, don't forget to hit that follow button. We are live on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and Amazon. On Amazon, you will see the carousel of all the books that I'm going to be talking about today. Now, it's impossible for me to go through every single book that has inspired me and that I believe is life-changing. And not only I think is absolutely imperative for content creators, but I really think anybody, you call yourself a human being, you're in the right place. Are you somebody who wants to You're sick and tired of what you're seeing out there, what you're reading out there, what you're being exposed to, what you're consuming? You're going to love this show. The books that I'm going to talk about today are groundbreaking, are quite literally inner revolutions of the soul and mind. They're soul nurturing. Not only are they going to help you with your business, not only are they going to help you with your content, not only are they going to help you with your personal brand, help you earn money in the creator economy, but they're going to help you as a human being, which is first and foremost. And I'm so excited. This has been a very long time coming. So stick around because after I go through, I'm going to be talking about 10, 12 books specifically on this list. I can't do the entire list because I would be here for 5 hours. You don't have that kind of time, and I don't have that kind of time. But if you want the entire list of all the books that I believe not only have changed my life, have been tantamount to my success, but I think will inspire you and help you with your journey, go check out our full list. There's a link in the pinned comment where you will see the full list on our Amazon storefront. Or if you want to just go to amazon.com/shop/Professor Nez, you will see the book, life-changing book list. It's all neatly right there for you. Go check that out. Another thing that I want to say really quickly, come on in, everybody. It's great to have you with us. Replay viewers, podcast listeners, you're going to love this because after I go through these books, I'm also going to be taking your questions. So stick around to the end because we have probably the most intelligent, amazing, thriving, engaged community online. I really, truly believe the Nez Nation fam is numero uno. And we're going to be taking your questions. So stick around because you might get answers to questions you never even knew you had. So make sure you stick around, hit that thumbs up, follow us. If you're watching on Amazon, you'll see the carousel of the books I'm going to be talking about today. We're going to jump right into it. And there's a couple of things I just want to say. And then I'm going to talk about what happened to me 10 days ago, 11 days ago. Holy macadamia nut. A couple of things. You notice the thumbnail, I say, not one single business book, okay? The thumbnail to this show, I say not one single business book. Not that I don't like business books. You guys know I talk about business books all the time. I've had authors on the show, interviewed authors. I'm not trying to downplay business books, but I truly believe that whenever people talk about doing reading or recommending books that'll help you with your life, your business, it's usually books that are not books that I'm going to mention to you today. Not even near, not even close. Most of the time, you're recommended books that are on the top 10 bestseller business marketing list. And by the way, replay viewers, podcast listeners, I would love for you to share. Come on over to our YouTube channel, Professor Nez. Share with us what are some of your most inspiring and books that have helped you succeed. But I guarantee you, you're going to be shocked at the books that I'm going to recommend. And I can say without a shadow of hyperbole, not a glimmer, not a molecule of exaggeration, these books have literally dropped atomic bombs in my chest and in my dome, completely flipped my perspective on life and everything. I would not be successful. I would not be anybody I am today without these books. So you're going to love this. You're going to absolutely love this show. Now, we're going to get right into the books in just a second, but I have to talk to you. If you're not on our newsletter, if you're not on our insider VIP list, you probably missed the email where I talked about what happened to me 10, 11 days ago. I would highly recommend, it's in the pinned comment. Also, you can just go to professornez.com/insider and you are in. It's absolutely free, our Creator Economy newsletter. You'll never miss another, update, feature, news, all the latest and greatest to help you monetize what's in your dome and your chest so you can earn money in the creator economy. I don't even think I can even say it on the air without getting demonetized, but I got the Rona. I got the My Sharona 11 days ago. So we missed a couple of streams. And it is so good to be back, and I'm so excited to talk about what we're going to talk about today, life-changing books that not only every content creator, but I think any human being should read. They have absolutely changed and transformed my perspective on life and helped me in every artery of my life. Initially when I got it, I was shocked that I tested positive, but it hit me pretty hard, and it's just so good to see you guys again. The first 2 days were really rough. I had chills, I had fever, I had a gnarly cough, and it really hit me hard. I started to feel better after a couple of days. I started to feel a little bit better, and it's been about almost 2 weeks now. The one thing that I would say, the reason I really have not been creating content, I haven't been going live for the last 10, 12 days, the fatigue is what really, really got to me. The fatigue hit me really, really hard. And I literally was feeling that up until only maybe 3 or 4 days ago. I mean, the fatigue, I couldn't do a lot. I was hit like a ton of bricks. And let me know in the comments if you have experienced this. I mean, this new variant is extremely transmissible, highly, highly infectious. I pray that none of you guys get this. Stay safe. This thing is not over yet. Wash your hands. Wear a mask if you have to. It's really, really crazy. Good to see. Let's see who's here. Lewis is here. Good to see you. Hey, Sola Flower University. Good to see you. Super Dave. Long time no see. I've written 7 books, my brother. As a matter of fact, on the list is my book. It's got coffee stains all over it, but A Conversation with Fear, which is actually on the list. I highly recommend that you check that out. Good to see you, Super Dave. Good to see you, George Fisher. Come on in. Make sure you smash a Rooney that thumbs up. Amazon, make sure you're following us because my wife and I are going to be going live a lot more, giving you the best products, best deals to save you time and money. If you're not following us on Amazon, for the love of God, get over there. Amazon.com/shop/Professor Nez. I'd love to see you over there. Okay, let's get into the books. Who's ready for the books? Give me a hashtag me in the comments right now. Who's ready for the groundbreaking, life-changing books. I mean, I'm not saying that. I know everybody has a list, and you might be saying, hey, Nez, why don't you just give me the list? Well, the list is in the pinned comment. You can go check out the entire list. I'm not going to be talking about all 47 or 50 books. I'm only going to be talking about 10 or 11. And this isn't in any kind of chronological best first or anything like that. I mean, every single book I'm going to talk about is just, to me, again, they dropped atomic missiles in my brain. They dropped atomic bombs in my chest. And they are absolutely, I can say it's like, these are like my mothers and fathers. These are like my best friends. I would go to the public library when I was going through debilitating depression and anxiety. This was, I've been dealing with this since I was 18. I'm probably, 1,000,000% better than I was back then, now that I'm in my mid-40s. But, in my early 20s, from pretty much 18 to 29, I went through, a lot of you guys know this, I went through debilitating anxiety and depression, and I would go to the public library. I wanted to be a writer at one time, and I've written books, but I mean, I wanted to be a full-time kind of Stephen King-esque fiction writer. Not writing horror books, but I wanted to be a writer. But anyway, that's neither here nor there, and these books were my saviors. I mean, there's really not much... I can't overemphasize how much these books have absolutely, just clenched me out of the abyss. They have absolutely done miracles for me, helped me in ways I can barely communicate and articulate, as you can hear right now. So this show has been a long, long time coming. Again, the entire list is in the pinned comment if you want to check them out. I would highly recommend you hang out with us. I'm going to talk about 10 or 11 books. You'll see it on the carousel on Amazon. I'm going to be talking about each book and giving it massive amounts of context. And we're going to start with, hey, good to see you, Dole Whip Dad. Thank you so much, Super Dave. We're going to start with a book by the preeminent poet of America, probably the first rock star poet of New York City and the United States of America. I've got foreign authors too. I mean, there's no prejudices here. There's no exclusivity here. This is a wide array of authors. Walt Whitman, Leaves of Grass. Walt Whitman is, to me, probably one of the most powerful authors I've ever encountered. I would literally take this book. This book is like, to me, medicine for the soul. He only published one book in 1855, Leaves of Grass. And he published many other great, amazing poetry, and I would highly recommend you get his collected works. But this book right here, Leaves of Grass, he published in 1855 at the age of 35. Terrible reception. It was a complete rebuke to the art form. It was a disruption to the forms, the traditions of poetry. He completely revolutionized the medium. And I felt like every line literally burned and etched, tattooed itself in my consciousness. I would literally take this book with me to the beach by myself. This was my sanctuary. I had a spot, a very specific spot that I would go to on the beach that nobody knows about. Maybe my wife is the only person that knows about this on planet Earth. And that's the book that caught Walter White. Yeah, exactly. That's funny. I love that show too, by the way. Thank you, Dole Whip Dad. Mr. Bates, correct? Is that right? I hope that's, it's Jeff, right? Or is it Jeffrey? Let me know in the comments. Good to see you. Yeah. Song of Myself is, I could almost say, if I was to pick one book or one piece of poetry or one of the books that are on these lists that you should absolutely just go get right now, and you can add it to the cart on the Amazon carousel right now, I would say it's this one. Literally, you don't have to have any kind of insight into, and he did this on purpose. You don't have to be a critical reader or a connoisseur of poetry or anything like that. He intended this book to be for the common man. He intended this book to be inspirational, moving, uplifting. And every time I read it, I literally break down and cry because I feel like, how many of you have ever had a book that has just spoke to you so loudly, so clearly, so powerfully that you feel like it was literally written for you? Let me know in the comments. Give me a hashtag me if you've ever had a book that you've read that you just felt like, I can't believe it. The author literally has burglarized my membrane, burglarized my thoughts. They're inside my head. This book is just one of the most powerful books I've ever read. I still read this every year. There's also amazing other poetry too. There's The Brooklyn Ferry. There's Crossing the Brooklyn Ferry. There's I Sing the Body Electric. But Song of Myself from Leaves of Grass. He finally ended the final edition in the late 18th century. This published in 1855, but then he finally finished the last edition, I think in like 1888 or 1892, and then he passed away a week later. So this is a life work for him. There is not an author alive. Hemingway, Fitzgerald, Mark Twain. There is not an author alive, to take any current author today, that has not been influenced. Allen Ginsberg, Jack Kerouac, Charles Bukowski. There is not an author alive today that has not been inspired by Walt Whitman. No, you cannot find one. John Lennon, musicians, Bruce Springsteen, Woody Guthrie, who I'm going to mention later. Hey, Paul, good to see you. Captain, my captain, that's right. An amazing poem about the assassination of Abraham Lincoln. This is medicine. This is absolute medicine. And I want to also say this too, really quickly. I also want to say this, that, another reason why I titled this, even though it's way bigger than for content creators, another reason why I titled this Life-Changing Books That Every Content Creator Should Read. And if you're just joining us, we're going through a list, and there's not one single quote-unquote business book. But I would argue that every single one of these books has done wonders for my business, has done everything for my business. I would argue these are the best business books, period. What they really envelop is the human condition. What they really embody is understanding humans, interpersonal relationships, emotion, psychological traits, the human psyche. And if you want to be a content creator, if you've been listening to this show, listening to this podcast, listening to my brand for the last 6-7 years, it's all about audience. If you want to be an amazing human being, an amazing friend, an amazing lover, an amazing husband, an amazing boyfriend or girlfriend, you need to understand human relationships and the human condition, period. If you want to run a successful business, if you want to get hired, get that promotion, you need to understand office politics, office dynamics. Everything is governed by human behavior. These are studies. Not only are these inspiring, uplifting, but these are studies in the human condition. The more you understand humans, the more successful you're going to be, not only with your content, not only with your business, not only with your career advancement, but just being a sound, adjusted, well-informed, easy to get along, articulate human being. I mean, I'm not really giving that the right sound, but just being a highly functioning, relatively stress-free, somebody who can enjoy life, human being, period. I'm dead serious. So Leaves of Grass by Walt Whitman is phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal, and I highly, highly, highly recommend that book. Highly, highly. Okay, next on the carousel. Wow, Another thing too, storytelling. Hello, marketers. Hello, business owners. Storytelling. I love it. I love it, George. Yeah, leave your. I really want these. I really want the comments. One thing I love about our Nez Nation community, you don't just get me, who's been running businesses for 3 decades, who's worked in the public sector as a professor, business professor, but in the private sector running multiple businesses. But you get these amazing professionals, executives, podcasters, live streamers, business owners. You get these amazing. So this community, this Nez Nation community, is the best on planet Earth, easily. And I want the comments, I want them to be as engaging as they always are. So replay viewers, podcast listeners, leave your recommendations. What do you recommend? What is a book that you felt moved your inner being? What is a book that you feel has transformed your way of looking at the world? Each one of these books literally gave Professor Nez a brand new pair of eyes. And I don't mean eyes like, looking at the ocean or looking at mountains. I mean the eyes of true seeing things for how they really are, giving me the inner strength of self-sufficiency, self-reliance, critical thinking, critical discernment, understanding human beings, understanding myself. I mean, that's something that we don't talk about in school. They don't teach this stuff at the university. We are a cacophony of complex emotions, thoughts, feelings, anxieties, confusion, disorientation, pleasures, temptation. How do we understand these things? These books literally gave me a brand new pair of eyes. Again, it's bigger than content creation. It's bigger than running a business. Who are you as a human being? If you don't know that, you can't be anything. You can't be a good father. You can't be a good husband. You can't be a good leader. You can't be a good CEO. You can't be a good coworker, period. Boyfriend, girlfriend, period. Who are you? What is happening inside you? Why are you feeling these feelings? How do you make sense out of the world and your place in it? These books gave me a new pair of eyes. This book is just by Somerset Maugham. It's called The Razor's Edge. Steve Martin claimed this is the book that absolutely catapulted his career and changed his life forever. And he's the reason I read this book. I love Steve Martin. Steve Martin is not just a comedian. He's not just an entertainer or a movie star. He's an amazing philosopher and author as well. An amazing banjo player, probably one of the best banjo players that ever lived. I think you could arguably say Steve Martin is one of the greatest banjo players that ever lived. I mean, Earl Scruggs, I think, even said playing with Steve was about as good as playing with anybody. And Earl Scruggs is like the godfather of bluegrass, right? Where really the banjo was used primarily. This is a story of isolation. It's a story of discovery, self-discovery. It's a story of love. It's a story of broken relationships, betrayal. It's a story of economic crisis. It's a story of spiritual crisis. And Somerset Maugham, I highly recommend you get more. I've read Of Human Bondage, Up at the Villa. Somerset Maugham is one of the greatest authors that ever lived. And this, to me, is probably, I believe, his greatest work. I haven't read all of his works, but I truly feel, I've read this book 3 or 4 times, especially if you're in your 30s or 20s. I plan on reading it again now that I'm almost 50, and I really plan on reading all these books again. I love reading. Let me know if you love reading. Give me a #me in the comments. Love that book, Paul. Yes, Man's Search for Meaning. I can't get to them all. 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Thank you, Sola Flower University. Yeah, I can't get to them all. And I didn't even mention the obvious ones. I didn't want to mention everybody should read the Bible. Everybody should read Shakespeare. Everybody should read Dante, and everybody should read, Socrates and Plato, etc. But so these books, I wanted to. These are very unique, and I think these authors, these writers, deserve a light. They deserve some light shed on them. And even though some of them you've probably heard of, and again, if you want the entire list, I can't go through the entire list. It would take me 10 hours to go through the entire list. But in the pinned comment, again, is the entire list of all the books that I think are life-changing and that will help you with understanding the human condition, which really bodes well for everything you do in life. But anyway, The Razor's Edge by Somerset Maugham. I remember reading this and feeling goosebumps on every single page. I remember the scene where he confronts the priest. There's an amazing scene where he confronts the priest, and there's this unbelievable dialogue and just a phenomenal. I mean, there isn't a movie, there isn't a YouTube video, there isn't anything that comes close to the complexity of these books that I'm mentioning to you. There just isn't. I love movies. I love YouTube. But I'm just saying we need to understand, what is it that makes people tick? What is it that makes us tick? And the more we understand this, otherwise known as self-consciousness, the more that we understand this, the better we can function and the less suffering there will be for us, our family, friends, and others. You want to change the world, work on yourself first. These books are an amazing start. Solaflower says, for some reason the Amazon link didn't work. What do you mean? What happened? Did you click on it? Hold on a second. Let me go check this out. Make sure this is working okay. So in the pinned comment on YouTube, if you click on... it works for me. In the pinned comment, Solaflower University. It's also in the description as well. The full list is there. It works for me. It works for me fine. So hopefully, just maybe refresh or something. This is an awesome book. Go get. And if you're watching on Amazon, you can add that to your cart. Right there at the very bottom, you can add this to your cart if you want to. Okay. The next book that I'm going to talk about. Again, there's obvious ones. The Gift by Hafez. Hafez is I want to say 16th century. No, he's a 14th century poet. He is a 14th century Persian poet, the great Sufi master. Every single line in here, every single poem in here, maybe I'll read a couple too, just so you can get a taste. Every single line in here is just, every poem in here, it just absolutely burns a fire in your chest. Such a beautiful way of looking at the world, inspiring, uplifting, just unique way of looking at things. And I can tell you right now, this is another one, kind of like Leaves of Grass. This is another one of those books where I can literally take this anywhere. And Daniel Landinsky is an amazing translator. Daniel Landinsky is a great translator of Hafez and Rumi. I'm sure a lot of you guys have heard of Rumi. I have Rumi on my list too. But maybe I'll read, I'll just kind of flip to a random. Check this out. So this one's called Elegance. And look how easy they are to read. They're just unbelievable. From the 13th century poet. Elegance by Hafez. It is not easy to stop thinking ill of others. Usually one must enter into a friendship with a person who has accomplished the great feat himself. Then something might start to rub off on you of that true elegance. Here's another one. Here's a great one right here. Hole in a flute. I am a hole in a flute that the Christ's breath moves through. Beautiful metaphors, beautiful. Listen to this music. I am the concert from the mouth of every creature, singing with the myriad chords. There's one in here where I actually even remember it by heart, where he says, I don't know if this is Rumi or Hafez. I think it's Hafez. Unbelievable. Easy to read, uplifting, medicine for the soul, understanding the human condition. You could read this book for the rest of your life. You could pass it on to your kids. It was written in the 13th, 14th century, and it's still true in 2022, maybe even more true in 2022. The earth never, or the sun never says to the earth, you owe me. The sun never says to the earth, you owe me. Look what a love like that does. It lights up the whole world. So for example, understanding human condition, right? The sun never says to the earth, you owe me. It just shines its light, giving life to everything. Without the sun, we don't have life on earth. Without the sun, we don't have photosynthesis, which gives nutrients to plants, vegetation, which gives nutrients to animals who eat the plants, and then we eat the animals, we eat the plants, right? Without the sun, there is no life on earth. Listen to this beautiful perspective. The sun never says to the earth, you owe me. Look what a love like that does. It lights up the whole world. Tell me that doesn't give you goosebumps right now. Tell me that doesn't give you that tingliness, that inspiration. Most of us give expecting something in return. But if you just give with zero expectations, which I've talked about on this channel before, if you give with zero expectations, look what a love like that does. It lights up the whole world. Big, big stuff. Huge. Okay, you want to talk about human psychology. There's so many Russian authors that I admire. Ivan Goncharov, who wrote Oblomov, is an amazing book about the inertia of a man trying to function in a world that he doesn't understand. Unbelievable book. It's on my list. Chekhov, Turgenev, Pushkin, these great Russian authors, Maxim Gorky. Chekhov and Dostoevsky are my favorite. Dostoevsky, to me, I'll just quote Nietzsche. You guys know who Friedrich Nietzsche is, and I don't even have Nietzsche on my list, even though I love Nietzsche. Nietzsche said, I learned more about psychology by reading Dostoevsky than I ever did by studying Freud. Crime and Punishment. You want to talk about storytelling, psychology, audience psychology, the human condition, understanding complexity of modern life clashing with traditional life, murder, deceit, conspiracy. I mean, this book has it all. I would highly recommend you drink some calming green tea or chamomile or something, maybe even a glass, maybe a little something stronger, because Dostoevsky is about as heavy as it gets. There's nothing really as heavy as Dostoevsky. It's highlighted right now in the carousel on Amazon. And the new translation is really, really good. I think this is Constance Garnett. But I would say The Idiot, I would say Notes from the Underground, and his preeminent, probably his most renowned work is Brothers Karamazov. But I love Crimes and Punishment. Not only as a content creator, but I think this book has it all. And when I was going through my deep-seated anxiety and depression, this book spoke to me in ways I never could understand. I knew it was a popular book. I know people talked about Dostoevsky, but I didn't really get it at first. And then I read Notes on the Underground and everything changed, which I believe is on my list. It's not in the carousel, but it's on my list. Crime and Punishment, holy macadamia nut. Every page, I'm just riveted. I think I read this book in like 3 days. And this book is over 500 pages, depending on what translation you have. So, Dostoevsky, the Russian authors. I also have a great Norwegian author, much in the vein of Dostoevsky, Knut Hamsun. Hunger and Mysteries, unbelievable. Growth of the Soil, unbelievable. Unbelievable books. Dostoevsky, there is not an author living today. He inspired Knut Hamsun. He inspired Rudyard Kipling. He inspired Mark Twain. He inspired Fitzgerald, Hemingway, Sherwood Anderson. He inspired Jack London. He inspired Kerouac. He inspired Dylan. He inspired so many authors. Dostoevsky is considered, to me, Dostoevsky is, it's like Dostoevsky, Whitman are like the goats. They're like the goats of creative fiction. And this book in particular, I love The Idiot. The Idiot is phenomenal. Notes from the Underground, revolutionary. Brothers Karamazov, very highly involved, but an amazing book. I think this one is one of my favorites. Crime and Punishment. Audience Psychology. Understanding human behavior. Understanding familial relationships. The politics of the office. The politics of crime and justice. The politics and the hypocrisy of so-called people who stand for something. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. Absolutely love this book. Again, if you're just joining us, welcome to the Creator Economy Podcast. We're talking about life-changing books that every content creator, business owner, I think every human being should really read. You'll notice the thumbnail says not one single business book. I would almost argue every single one of these books are business books, without being directly called a business book. You would never find these books in the business category at Barnes & Noble or even Amazon, but I would argue these are all business books. And if I've inspired you at all, if I've hit you on any level, if I've impacted you on any level, I stand by these books with every fiber of my being. And you can see in the carousel down there, you could add those to your cart right now if you're watching on Amazon, or just go to the link in the pinned comment. I have the entire list, because I can't go through every single book, but I have the entire list organized for you of books that go beyond what I can mention. So check them out. Okay, the next book, I was an undergrad. Actually, this was in graduate school. I first read the Tao Te Ching by Lao Tzu, which is probably one of the most powerful books I ever read in that. I mean, all of these books are amazing, but this book right here particularly, what I was going through, and I'm going to read a couple excerpts from this, because you can see how it's written in these sort of little kind of verses almost. But Lao Tzu was around before Jesus. Lao Tzu goes back to ancient times. We're talking 550 BC. He was a contemporary of Confucius. And I absolutely love this translation by Stephen Mitchell. Stephen Mitchell also translated the Bhagavad Gita, which is next. But Lao Tzu, the legend goes that the emperor at the time in China, Lao Tzu was known as being this wise man, and this all-renowned wise person. And he didn't like what was happening to his city, so he decided to leave. And before he left, it was a night at the bridge. This is the legend. One of the guards of the bridge going out of town said, "Before you leave, will you please write down some wisdom for us? Write down your wisdom that you espouse." And he wrote the Tao Te Ching, which is the most translated book besides the Bible. And I'm going to read some excerpts. He talks about this thing called the Tao. The Tao is just energy. You can almost replace the Tao with the Force, or, spirit or soul. Check this out. I'm going to read verse 19. Listen to this. "Throw away holiness and wisdom, and people will be 100 times happier. Throw away morality and justice, and people will do the right thing. Throw away industry and profit, and there won't be any thieves. If these three aren't enough, just stay at the center of the circle and let all things take their course." Graduate school 2006, I was going through heavy mental crisis and nervous breakdown. Boy, this book pulled me out of the trenches, just like Whitman did. Lao Tzu this is just a phenomenal book. And there's probably 1,006,000 different translations of this book. But Stephen Mitchell is a phenomenal, phenomenal translator, and it's got probably the most highly renowned reviews. So again, one thing I love about this book is it's all about allowing things to take place and not forcing things. Irony, paradox. We pursue that which retreats from us. A lot of the times, I would say even 90% of the times, you don't have to do anything. If you just show up and you show up with your best self, things have a way of working out, right? Things have a way of taking their own course, their own action without being forced. I mean, the best example I can think of is have you ever been around somebody who tries really hard to make you laugh or tries really hard to impress you? 9 out of 10 times, or maybe even 10 out of 10 times, it never works. Let me know in the comments if you know what I'm talking about. This was a book that also, when I was going through major anxiety and major mental crisis, it absolutely had such a profound effect on me. It just hit me at the right time. I was 29, 28 when I first read this. I'm going to read another one. Check this out. When the master governs, the people are hardly aware that he exists. Next best is a leader who is loved. Next, one who is feared. The worst one is who is despised. If you don't trust the people, you make them untrustworthy. Check this out. The master doesn't talk, he acts. When his work is done, the people say, amazing, we did it all by ourselves. How cool is that? So again, this one right here, very short, thin book. There's 80 something odd verses. I think it's 70, let's see here. Yeah, 81 verses. And ancient wisdom that goes back to 550 BC. Again, Lao Tzu was a contemporary of Confucius. I'm sure a lot of you guys have heard of Confucius. Ancient wisdom. The second most translated book besides the Bible. Highly, highly recommend. Go check that out. Okay, some more ancient wisdom, and then I'm going to get to some awesome fiction books. But some more ancient wisdom. Well, I've already talked about a couple of ancient. The Bhagavad Gita. This is probably the most recognized ancient text that goes back, and there's been a million different translations of this as well. But a lot like Shakespeare, a lot like Whitman, a lot like Lao Tzu, and actually Emerson and Thoreau were the people who talked about the Bhagavad Gita. It's an ancient Indian poem where it's just so powerful. And it's basically like a kind of mentoring, it's a mentoring book. It goes back thousands of years. I mean, it goes back hundreds and thousands of years. And one of the things I love is I'm going to read what Emerson says about the Bhagavad Gita. Again, this is a translation by Stephen Mitchell. One of the things I love that Emerson says, it was one of the first books. It was as if an empire spoke to us, nothing small or unworthy, but large, serene, consistent, the voice of an old intelligence, which in another age climate had pondered and thus disposed of the same questions which haunt us. So Thoreau says this, the reader is nowhere raised into and sustained in a higher, purer, or rarer region of thought, beside even our Shakespeare, who seems youthfully green and practical compared to the Bhagavad Gita. So this is, and the Bhagavad Gita means the Song of the Blessed One. Nobody really knows when it was written. Some scholars date it back to as early as the 5th century. I'm a big believer in, I've said this a million times on the channel, that if the truth is really the truth is eternal. Hey, good to see you, FaceTat Gaming. Yeah, I know that. If the truth is really the truth is eternal. The truth is not good on Friday, bad on Tuesday. The truth is not something you put in your pocket and you use after you graduate. The truth is not something that only works, when you get older. No, if the truth is the truth is eternal. So, I've talked about, Hafez. I've talked about Walt Whitman. I've talked about the Tao Te Ching, right? And now I'm talking about the Bhagavad Gita. So these ancient texts still ring true today. And they have just absolutely changed my life. They've absolutely changed my perspective. They have absolutely had everything to do with the success of me as a father, as a husband, as a business owner, in my personal life, my professional life, understanding audiences, understanding the reality of things. Look, there's a place for fantasy. I know a lot of us love fantasy. I know a lot of us love science fiction, fantasy, role playing. These are great, right? House of Dragons, I get it. Star Wars, I get it. Superman, Spider-Man, Iron Man, I get it. But you need something that's anchored in reality too. You need something that helps you understand yourself and the world around you. And I'm telling you right now, again, if you're just joining us, the link in the pinned comments, you'll find the entire list of life-changing books. I'm just going through a few here because I don't have time to go through all of them. Give these books a chance. If I've inspired you at all, give these books a chance. Another Stephen Mitchell translation is an anthology of sacred poetry. Let's see if I can get that in focus. Called The Enlightened Heart. A very innocuous-looking book, super thin, but it's got collections, everything from the Upanishads, which go back to the 5th century, the Book of Psalms, Lao Tzu, who I just mentioned, the Bhagavad Gita, Shakespeare, Walt Whitman, Emily Dickinson, who I love. It's a great collection of inspiring, awesome poetry and verse. And I love this. It's even got some cool stuff from Basho, who I absolutely love. But check this out. I'm gonna read just an excerpt from. Let's see if I can find something that's really cool. Kabir is a great ancient Indian poet. But look at this. Listen to this from Kabir. You'll get a vibe of what I'm talking about. Let me read a verse from this. Are you looking for me? I am in the next seat. My shoulder is against yours. You will not find me in stupas, not in Indian shrine rooms, nor in synagogues, nor in cathedrals, not in masses, not in legs winding around your own neck, nor in eating nothing but vegetables. But when you really look for me, you will see me instantly. You will find me in the tiniest house of time. Kabir says, student, tell me what is God. He is the breath inside the breath. Just amazing stuff. Unbelievable, amazing stuff. Let me read something from Rumi. Oh, yeah, so Rumi's in here too. I have lived on the lip of insanity, wanting to know reasons, knocking on a door. It opens. I've been knocking from the inside. This book right here is something that I literally, good to see you, Cogito V. I hope I'm saying that right. Good to see you, CK in the house, Construction Cronies. This book I go back to again and again and again because it's a collection of everything I've been really talking about. Fantastic, inspiring, motivational. I mean, motivational is almost an insult. It's soul food. All of these books are soul medicine and soul food. Go get The Enlightened Heart. It's in the carousel on Amazon right now or in the pinned comment. Go check that out. Okay, let's get to some fiction that will absolutely revolutionize how you look at storytelling and how you look at the world. Chekhov. I talked about Dostoevsky. Probably one of the greatest, if not the greatest, short story writers of all time. Psychologically complex, inner struggle, inner crises, spiritual crises. Stories about people on the brink of madness. Stories about people overcoming the biggest obstacles. Ward 6 and Other Stories by Chekhov. I can read these short stories over and over again. There is not an author, there's not a writer who has not cited Chekhov. There's not a playwright who has not cited Chekhov as a huge influence from today, yesterday, and he will forever be one of the greatest writers that ever lived. This book absolutely changed my life. This book absolutely dropped atomic bombs in my chest. And this will help you understand human condition, understand human interaction, understand human psyche better than almost any book you could ever read. It's filled with, let's see, in the actual, I'll read some excerpts too from some of the, because it's kind of cool because in the beginning it's got these cool excerpts. Check this out. This is from The Grasshopper. I love this. I'm sorry, The Witch. The storm still raged without. Something wailed in the stove, in the chimney, outside the walls. And it seemed to Savely that the wailing was within him, in his ears. This evening had completely confirmed him in his suspicions about his wife. Betrayal, unrequited love, infidelity, crises, mental, physical. I mean, Ward number 6 itself is an absolute journey into the madness of how far the human psyche can go. Chekhov's short stories have done nothing short but revolutionize how we look at writing, how we look at humans, and the transparency and truth that is in these lines, bar none. So simple too, and he covers so much: gestures, facial expressions, motives. I mean, he really is like a detective of human behavior. He's an interrogator of human behavior. I love this book. You can read this. I could read that over and over and over again, and I have. I've read this book probably a dozen times. Okay, we're getting down to, and again, there is no chronological, there is no best or last, but we're getting down to the final 2 books on my carousel. And I just want to say again, the entire list of all these life-changing books are located in the pinned comment and in the description of this video and in the show notes, podcast listeners. If you're watching on Amazon, you can add those to your cart in 2 seconds. These books have done nothing short of really helped me in every facet of my life. Okay, somebody you've probably never heard of, I'd be surprised, is an author by the name of William Saroyan. William Saroyan is an Armenian American, and he was around during the 1930s and the 1940s. Some of his biggest hits: The Daring Young Man on the Flying Trapeze. Love this book. I mean, to me, he's a modern Mark Twain. Mark Twain was in the 19th century. He's like a 20th century Mark Twain. The Human Comedy is an amazing book that was made into a movie. Unbelievable. I think I've identified with William Saroyan probably more than anything. Probably because I have Armenian blood in me. My mom has an Armenian name. But his ability to look at people, his ability to look at life. And I'm going to actually read an unbelievable quote that I think even Johnny Depp has quoted before as well. But just fantastic storytelling. Really, truly envelop and really, truly embody what it's like to be a human being living in a time where possibilities were endless, or possibilities seemed infinite. And there was a lot of opposition, but there was so much opportunity as well. I'm going to read for you an excerpt. William Saroyan, you know, a lot of people talk about Fitzgerald. A lot of people talk about Hemingway. A lot of people talk about, what's that guy's name? Ezra Pound, right? James Joyce. William Saroyan gets zero credibility. I mean, he's known in fiction circles. He's known in creative writing departments, but rarely does he get the mainstream attention that I think he beyond deserves. Thomas Wolfe is a great author. I love Thomas Wolfe. Saroyan I would put up there Fitz. I actually like him better than Fitzgerald, even though I love Fitzgerald. I like him even better than Hemingway. Um, there's an excerpt in here that I want to just read from a story called "The Summer of the Beautiful White Horse." I want to read this to you. One day back there in the good old days, and another thing too, his prose is so easy to absorb. So easy to read. You know how some authors, it's like they use $1 million word every other word, and you're just like, I don't even understand this. You're just trying to show me how smart you are. Let me know in the comments if you know what I'm talking about. This is an excerpt. William Saroyan, one of the greatest American authors that is hardly ever given the attention he deserves. The Summer of the Beautiful White Horse. Listen to this, guys. Check this out. One day back there in the good old days when I was 9 and the world was full of every imaginable kind of magnificence, and life was still a delightful and mysterious dream, my cousin Murad, who was considered crazy by everybody knew him except me, came to my house at 4 a.m. and woke me up, tapping on the window of my room. Aram, he said. I jumped out of bed and looked out the window. I couldn't believe what I saw. It wasn't morning yet, but it was summer, and with daybreak not many minutes around the corner of the world, it was light enough for me to know that I wasn't dreaming. My cousin Murad was sitting on a beautiful white horse. That's just a small taste of the power. That's just a small taste of the magic of William Saroyan. I could read William Saroyan all day, every day. He was hugely inspired by Walt Whitman. You can really smell and taste a lot of Whitman in William Saroyan. Hardly nobody knows who William Saroyan is. I absolutely love this author. And his books are very, very unorthodox, very non-traditional. He writes straight from the gut, straight from the heart. And he was a huge inspiration to me as I was kind of growing up in my 20s and 30s. Amazing, amazing book. Okay, I did save the last book that I'm going to talk about. You don't want to miss this. The last book that I'm going to talk about is literally a book that I cried on every single page. I wept like a newborn baby at the brilliance, the sheer stupefaction of how unbelievably simple and powerful. Every single page I cried. Every single page. It burned a whole new universe inside my chest, this book. It's like pouring sunshine inside your brain. One of the most inspiring, one of the most unbelievable road novels, one of the most unbelievable travel stories, one of the most heartbreaking stories of man. This next author, I know I said none of these books I would claim is the best of the best, but if I had to pick one book and go to an island, you know, that stupid question that we always get, I would take this book. Before I talk about it, though, I just want to really emphasize to you that on this show, we talk about how to monetize in the creator economy, how you can really create true impact, doing something you love and earning real money. Consider becoming an insider. It's our free creator economy newsletter. You never miss out on another live stream. Because sometimes these algorithms change. Sometimes you don't get notifications, even though you're subscribed or you're following us. Sometimes you don't get the notifications, right? Well, one sure bulletproof way for you to always get notified when we release new videos, new live contests and giveaways too, prizes. We gave away a camera, $1,000 camera last year. We're going to do more of that. Make sure you become an insider. It's in the description, in the show notes, or just go to professornez.com/insider. It takes you 2 seconds. Put your best email in there. We don't spam. We don't share your email. That's not the Nez Nation way. Make sure you become an insider right now. It's in the pinned comment on YouTube, LinkedIn as well. Okay, who's ready for the final book, the final life-changing book? Give me a hashtag me in the comments right now. And by the way, I don't want you to think that this is the last book. The full entire list, okay? The full entire list. There's a pinned comment in the there's a link in the pinned comments. Also in the show notes on the podcast, replay viewers, or just go to amazon.com/shop/Professor Nez. I was only able to talk about a dozen or so books because, look, we've already been live for an hour and I got a client meeting coming up. But if you want the entire list, it's over 50 books, go to amazon.com/shop/Professor Nez. Give me a hashtag me if you're ready for the final book. That, to me, I cried on every single page. I was moved to tears, inspired beyond belief, restored my faith in humanity, restored my faith in myself. More than any other book, more than any other book. The autobiography of Woody Guthrie, Bound for Glory. One of the most powerful, book is almost an insult. It's a work of art. It's an absolute work of art. Unbelievable. If you don't know who Woody Guthrie is probably the number one reason that folk music, rock and roll music really even happened. There would be no Bob Dylan without Woody Guthrie. There would be no John Lennon without Woody Guthrie. There would be no Paul McCartney. There would be no Bruce Springsteen. There would be no Elton John. There would be no Jimi Hendrix. Woody Guthrie is probably one of the most revolutionary singers, songwriters, travelers. He wrote This Land Is Your Land, probably one of the greatest American anthems that we have. And a lot of people don't know that he wrote a unbelievable. The Library Journal calls this book, it deserves the attention of this generation. It is not only a fascinating autobiography, it is a voice from the grassroots of America. Woody speaks for the indomitable spirit of an independent man who set out to do his own thing. If you like Grapes of Wrath by John Steinbeck, which I love, I would almost say this is Grapes of Wrath, not from the perspective of an author, but from a perspective of somebody who was actually in it, who actually traveled to California looking for a better life. But it's so much bigger than that. It's so much more than that. And when he talks about his mom being sick, I'm going to cry right now. When he talks about his mom being sick, the amount of heartbreak, the amount of unbelievable truth, the amount of unbelievable sincerity and authenticity bleeds on every single page. I told you, I've cried. I cry uncontrollably reading this book. That's how much it's moved me. That's how much it's helped me. I would not be who I am today without this book, bar none. Again, if there's one book out of every single book that I've talked about some fascinating, phenomenal books. This book right here, the autobiography of Woody Guthrie, whenever people ask me, they say, hey, Nez, what's a book I should read? I always say Whitman, Leaves of Grass, and Woody Guthrie's autobiography, Bound for Glory. Hey, Nez, give me one book you would recommend. Woody Guthrie, Bound for Glory. Hey, Nez, what's one book you would take to an island if you had to? Woody Guthrie's Bound for Glory. There was a lot of, educated writers that were super jealous of Woody Guthrie during the time of this publication, which I think this came out in the early 40s, I believe. I think it first came out in 1943. 1943. And it's just absolutely phenomenal. I absolutely love it. Pete Seeger says that there would be no Pete Seeger without Woody Guthrie. So when somebody says, Nez, recommend a book for me, this is the book I always go to time and time again. Check out the link in the comments. Check out the carousel below. Holy macadamia nut. Again, if you want the full list, just go to our storefront, amazon.com/shop/Professor Nez. Make sure you follow us and subscribe, because my wife and I, especially if you're on Amazon, we are sharing the best deals, the best Amazon finds and products, so you can save time and money. It's your one-stop shop. Make sure you follow us here on Amazon. If you're watching on YouTube, if you're watching on Facebook, please make sure that you become an insider. ProfessorNez.com/insider. It's in the pinned comments. Also, before we go, I also want to share, we talk about earning money in the creator economy. Well, I've been running businesses for 3 decades, right? I've also worked in the public sector as a business professor at top universities all over the world. And I have since started my very own academy, teaching very easy to follow, simple modules and courses, all about helping you earn money and monetize in the creator economy. We got courses on personal branding, courses on career advancement, creating a business. You'll see in the ticket taper there, go to beyondtheboxacademy.com. These are multiple award-winning 5-star courses. There it is right there, beyondtheboxacademy.com. That is our academy where you can get the best courses. Learn from me personally, going in depth on how you can become your very own. Earn maybe a side hustle. You don't have to be a business owner. Earn some extra money. I mean, I don't know about you, but gas still sucks. I don't have any student loans that are being forgiven. Food is still super expensive. Everything is still super expensive, right? How about starting a quick side hustle? Earn an extra $500 a month. Earn an extra $1,500 a month. It's more possible now than it's ever been. So go check out Beyond the Box Academy down below. I highly, highly recommend it. I hope you got a ton of value from this show. Again, become an insider. Make sure you follow. Make sure you subscribe, because I've got more to come. I am your ambassador to the creator economy, helping you monetize your skills, creativity, and experience so you can earn more, grow faster, and stress less. What's better than that? Nothing. That's what. So make sure you follow. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Go check out beyondtheboxacademy.com. If you want to go deeper, go to our Amazon storefront, amazon.com/shop/Professor Nez. Best deals, best Amazon finds, the entire list of all the books that I mentioned and more. Go check them out right now and start understanding humans better. Start understanding yourself better. It's going to help you in your personal life. It's going to help you in your business life. It's going to help you in every life. Thank you. Thank you so much. I love you all. I'll see you guys next time. Wait, strike that. I did say I was going to do a live Q&A. Hold it, cut, redo. Rewind. If you have any questions, at all, I'm happy to take any questions. I did say there was going to be a live Q&A at the end, so I want to fulfill my promise. So if anybody is still here hanging out and you have any questions at all, by the way, replay viewers, podcast listeners, there is a questionnaire form in the description and the show notes where you can fill it out. It takes you 2 seconds. And guess what? I might answer your question live on the air. I did say there was going to be a live Q&A. So if you have any questions, just type a capital Q in the comments right now and followed by your question, and I'll do my best to answer it. Okay, let's get some, you know what? I forgot to turn back on this. Let's see. Yeah, let's turn on some music here. I really, really appreciate you guys. It means the absolute world to me that you guys are here, and I love hearing from you guys too. Also, let me know in the comments, what are some things that you'd like to learn when it comes to the creator economy? What are some topics? Well, I'm going to create a video on it. I'll do an entire live stream. I do it all the time. I'm here to serve you. I'm not here for me. I already have read all of these books. I love these books. I'm here for you. I'm here to share hopefully inspire and hopefully impact you, just like I was impacted. I want to be another link in the chain. I want to be an inspirer. Inspirer. How do you say that? So if you have any questions, now's your time. Leave your question in the comment down below, and I'm happy to answer them. And also, if you're watching this or listening to this on the replay, let me know what are some things you'd like to know more about. Nez, I want to know more about how to monetize on YouTube. Nez, I want to know more about starting a YouTube channel. Nez, I want to know more about personal branding. Nez, I want to know more about affiliate marketing. Nez, I want to know how to earn more money on Facebook. Whatever it is, let me know and I will create. Nez, I want to know more about how to sell my own products and services. I want to know more about how to become a coach and consultant, how to get paid for my time. Whatever it is. I've got a ton of videos on my YouTube channel that cover all of this, but I'm here for you, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have. So leave a comment. Let me know if you have any questions. Let me know what topics you'd like to see on this channel. Again, I'm here to serve you, and I hope to answer them, and I hope to help. I'm here to help. Okay, so I'm not seeing any questions, so I'm just going to bid you a fond adieu. Make sure you become an insider. It takes you 2 seconds, and it's free, and you'll never miss out. Thank you so much for joining us today. On behalf of the entire Nez Nation family, I am your boy Nez, saying hasta luego, hasta la pasta. I'll see you next time. Thank you, guys. Oh, by the way, no stream this Sunday. I got a family thing going on, so I'll see you next week. But again, become an insider so you never miss out. Love you guys. See you next time.